clever pun. The conversation.
The sight of a teenage human being born from a cow's bum is frightening all of the steers and bulls in the area. We're being chased through the backcountry roads to the livestock auction.
Hello, and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
I'm Cameron Reigle.
And I'm Dustin Jackson.
And what's all this then? Why aren't we discussing the farmer's market layer of Donkey Kong Bonanza? Why aren't we discussing sublayers 393 to 528? Why aren't we doing that? What is wrong with DK Vine's The Kongversation, Donkey Kong Universe audio podcast program discussion? Well, as I promised like 2 months ago, back when Dustin and I first did that Donkey Kong Bonanza First Impressions episode, we are going to be mixing in other topics as we continue to journey towards the planet core. Because my hyper-detailed Bonanza discussion process and playthrough progress is taking ever so long. So do not worry, we will be back on the Bonanza beat with the very next episode, although expect to see some different topics weeded in every now and then from here on out. We're going to be mixing it up a little bit. We have to. There's other stuff to discuss because Donkey Kong Bonanza has obviously been the biggest and, let's face it, most exciting and uplifting story of this Stinky Ape summer, but honestly of the last several years of our fandom of the Donkey Kong universe. It has just been like the story, and doesn't mean other things haven't been happening in the realm of the DKU though, namely Rare celebrating its 40th anniversary this summer. And obviously, look, I know the shine of its Ruby anniversary was a bit dulled by everything that happened in July. And the larger controversies surrounding parent corporations and what have you. I get that. I know that. I acknowledge that. But I still think we can take a moment to say, hey, a video game studio surviving for 4 decades into the year 2025, it's kind of wild. That doesn't really happen anymore. I mean, it's never happened really, outside of your huge, monolithic video game corporations. Studios like Rare honestly come and go, just blown away with the sands of time. So the fact that they've survived this long and they're still around, and it's a studio that's arguably done more to drive this fandom and subculture than any others, I would say that's worth doing an episode of our podcast about. So on this episode of The Kongversation, we'll be taking a look at Rare's 40th, everything they've done and are doing to celebrate it. And we will also take a moment to reflect on what the studio and the many people who have worked there for just under half a century now have meant to us.
I guess we might as well while we're
here.
here.
I mean,
it would seem like a waste to not talk about it.
Be awkward to change topics now. I already have the episode artwork up and everything.
It's too bad because that farmer's market layer would have been the best episode, but I guess we just won't get a chance to talk about it.
It's honestly my favorite world of the game so far. Just, buying all those fruits and vegetables and the homemade fudge. Wow.
I really like Pauline's corncob suit.
It was a nice Jungle Beat callback. I wasn't expecting that, to be fair, but I mean this team behind Bonanza has surprised me. Dustin, Little Birdie, which is my nickname for Mitchell Wolf, Little Birdie told me that even though we're not discussing Bonanza on this episode, it just so happens that there is kind of a Bonanza episode of The Kongversation floating around right this minute, simultaneously with this one. How is that possible? Well, our spoiler rule for Donkey Kong Bonanza is still in effect on these mainline Kongversation episodes. And we are not discussing any Bonanza spoilers on this one, aside from the farmer's market layer with the corncob suits. Sorry, everyone. That's been ruined now. But where can you go to get unfiltered Bonanza spoilers for The Kongversation, aside from, the future, when we actually do those episodes? Well, Dustin, you couldn't wait. You were just a giddy little child on Christmas Eve, jumping up and down on the bed, waiting for Santa.
I said I needed to open a present now on Christmas Eve night.
Yeah, and of course you share a bed with Jeff and Mitchell, and so you all decided you were going to get up and record your own podcast, specifically getting into everything. Every sorted Donkey Kong Bonanza spoiler that is verboten on these mainline episodes. I'm talking about The Kongversation Other Voices, the second episode of this side conversation series that you have done. The second episode, they don't necessarily all have to be the three of you, but so far it's been the three of you. So
it's just kind of worked out that way.
Yeah, this is now available for DK Vine patrons. If you are a DK Vine patron, you can listen to these Other Voices episodes. And if you want these unfiltered Bonanza spoilers, that's where you have to go right now, because, I'm still plugging away at the game. It's very fun.
I'm going to check it out right now. Dustin, Hyle, you can handle this podcast, right?
I think I'm going to go listen to it, too. I don't remember what I said.
Yeah, it was very weird, too, dropping your audio into, the file with my intro and the theme song and the outro, and not being able to listen to anything. I had to quickly listen to make sure it properly began and properly ended. And I was playing with fire because I was like, if they start screaming about Brash Bear being in it, then I'm going to be so pissed at myself. But I avoided spoilers. I got it up for the patrons. So, and then I put the episode up. Hey,
whoa, Hyle, have you been listening to the Idaho crew?
No, because I'm trying to avoid spoilers. So
honestly, Hyle, you've edited so many of these, I'm surprised you can't just recognize when somebody says Brash Bear by the waveform.
That was my fear. No, honestly, I know what certain characters look like with the waveforms now, so I had to avert my eyes as well. Because I knew what certain waveforms would look like, and so I had to, I can see it like Matrix code, like I'm Neo, and I know exactly, I would say, what about 40-some DKU characters look like in waveform. So it was very hard. But I did it. I did it for you, Dustin. I did it for Jeff, and I did it for Mitchell, and I did it for our patrons. So DK Vine is on Patreon. You get special perks like that. Your other voices, bonus episodes, sans me. I do a little intro for them, though, because I'm a glory hound and I have to get in on it. You understand what it's like to be a narcissist, don't you, Dustin?
Oh, of course, every day.
So, anyway, check that out for if you're a patron. If you would like to become a patron, they're always available. Just go to patreon.com/DKVine or dkvine.com/Patreon, whatever. Become a patron for as little as $1 a month and you have access. But if you're a patron for $5 a month, you can listen to these episodes of The Kongversation live as we record them. And I would like to say a special shout out to everyone in our live stream. Freezer, Chocolate Milk Drinker. We've got March Rose, Porion Q, S Monaco 14, Tomo621, Malik was there briefly. I think Malik's gone. But hello everyone. Freezer would like to point out the Idaho crew has been very spoiler free, just them losing faith in humanity from DK64. Well, they're going to be playing Bonanza soon. So
yeah, faith restored.
I feel like when they play Bonanza, inevitably they're going to have to get into Bonanza spoilers. Kind of be hard to do, you know?
Unless, maybe by the time...
That's a good point.
Maybe by the time we do, more people will have finished the game.
Or you could just spend the first several weeks in the Ingot Isle tunnel, the very first tunnel. That might be the way to do it.
That sounds good. That sounds like a fun, good use of everyone's time.
Just grind for gold and Bonandium chips. It's fine.
Yeah, that's you know what? It might be better than the DK64 streams.
Yeah. There's something very satisfying about breaking through those voxels, you know? I mean, it's like...
I think so.
Does anybody have the thing where they love the feeling of ripping off scabs?
Now, don't you all in the chat pretend like you're not holding your hands up.
Or like dry skin, the feeling when you're just peeling something off of you. That's the way.
We're off to a great start.
That's the way Bonanza feels for me. I don't eat it or anything. I just like the feeling. It's a stress
relief.
Sort of freak.
Back of the box quote right there. It's Donkey Kong Bonanza is like peeling dried skin.
As
satisfying
as peeling dried skin. Let's get it right. All right. That's the pitch right there. Hi, Courtney. Courtney says, hello. Goodbye.
Well, let's hope the episode gets better from there.
I think we're off to a great start. This is the best I felt in weeks. I'm coming out of my COVID brain fog. I'm on fire tonight. Or maybe the problem is COVID cooked my brain.
So someone put Hyle out. He's on fire tonight.
Whoa, no. Was that a Lois Griffin laugh, Dustin? I realize I have two of the Idaho crew with me right now, so I'm already outnumbered, but can we at least wait an hour into the podcast before you start breaking out the cartoon voices?
I'll keep it to a minimum.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 hour.
Oh, yeah. God. All right, well, 40 years of Rare. It's a topic that's near and dear to all of our hearts. I would imagine the hearts of many of our audience listening. And again, let me get this out of the way. The slightly insensitive elephant genie in the room. Yes, we do wish Rare had another game coming out. Yes, we wish the legacy franchises were treated better or had been treated better over the last 20-some years. Yes, of course we want a new Banjo-Kazooie game. That's not in question. Yes, Xbox, I know. Yes, okay, I know. But can I just say, some good news for once on this front. It's worth pointing it out. It's a little bit of an update on the episode we did back in July. Surprisingly uplifting updates because Louise O'Connor is back, sort of. She was part of the layoffs in July when the Everwild team got cut, and she's gotten a new job as Chief of Staff at Xbox Games, which makes me so happy that she wasn't out of work for long, and I know that Louise was always part of Craig Duncan's inner circle at Rare, and it's clear that Craig is incredibly loyal to a lot of his people. So, it's just nice to see, and I'm happy for her. She's been such a huge part of Rare history, going back to, I think, 1999 is when she joined Rare and the Conker team. But, yeah, little happy notes on that front. So great to hear. And despite the relative blunting of a lot of our optimism back in July, I still believe, I know that Rare's new leadership team mean potentially good things on the front for vintage Rare fans who want a little bit more. And I do think it's important to also recognize just how large of a studio Rare is. There's this idea that Rare is like 12 people, and, it's, like every time there's new Banjo-Kazooie merchandise that appears, there's all these accusations of this insidious conspiracy that, Rare wants to cash in on the Banjo-Kazooie fans, but they don't want to give us a new game. And look, I get the frustration. I know how you feel, but we're getting that stuff because Rare has a brand and licensing department that's making it happen. And, at the end of the day, this is just my opinion, but I want that stuff celebrated and in the public consciousness rather than just mothballed entirely. Like, if the choice between nothing at all to do with Banjo-Kazooie or getting some cool new Banjo-Kazooie merchandise every now and then, I mean, I'm going to choose the latter.
Yeah, I've wanted this stuff since I was a kid. Banjo-Kazooie merchandise, that was some. There was like the beanie toy, but really not a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm not really going to complain about stuff that I would have liked to have when I was a kid.
Yeah, obviously, like the first 4 figure stuff, I can't afford. I don't have space for. It's cool to see,
but I like that they exist still.
Yeah, it's cool to see like a 2D statue. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool to see like washing machine Banjo, which I think the Idaho crew just unloaded. If what I'm hearing is right, maybe you just got a new washing machine or you got one for Tate. I don't really know where you were before we
had to get a new washing machine because our old one started to go kaput. But yeah, we got a new one so I can wash all of my Banjo-Kazooie shirts, which exist.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know people accuse me of simping for Rare, or simping for a dead studio, as somebody on the site formerly known as Twitter once said. But, I mean, at the end of the day, like, Rare is a large studio. They've got people there who want to put out legacy stuff. And I thank them for it. Like, I'm not going to buy everything. You don't have to buy everything. But I still like that it's considered a viable enough property that people are lining up to put out Banjo-Kazooie stuff or Conker stuff even. And, even though if there's no immediate plans for a new Conker or a Viva Pinata, I still feel seen as a fan when that stuff does occasionally crop up on various outlets. And
yeah, I mean, we went a long time without just anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I bring up the brand and licensing department because they are the ones who are primarily taking the reins with all of this Rare 40th anniversary celebration stuff. So it's apropos that I bring them up. But yeah, I mean, it's like, again, Rare's under new leadership as of like late last year. Joe Neate, Jim Horth, Craig Duncan is in a higher position in the hierarchy now. I think good things could be coming. And I know it's ridiculous to say be patient when we've waited so long. And I know the situation with like the Perfect Dark game outside of Rare, it really like puts a negative light on even the possibility of there being a bright future. But all of that aside, Rare has hit 40 years. And that is a staggering achievement, especially when Sea of Thieves is still doing as well as it is. This multi-platform game that's still just chugging along after over 7 years. Like, their biggest game of all time. I know we want more than just Sea of Thieves, but it's also worth pointing out that Sea of Thieves is still this viable ecosystem that's keeping them afloat. So it's not like it's nothing, So
yeah,
I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. That's just my getting all of that stuff out of the way so we can actually do this episode without everybody chiming in saying, but actually, yeah, we know. I get it. I want a new Banjo-Kazooie game too. I do. I'm not saying I don't. Stop putting words in my mouth. Of course I want a new Banjo-Kazooie game. It's going to have a lot of work to do to be as good as Donkey Kong Bonanza. But hey, competition is good. Competition.
A new Banjo-Kazooie, the idea just never occurred to me, to be honest.
Yeah, what? A new Banjo game?
But, oh my god, what a summer for the two of you. I feel like a proud papa. I feel like a doting Donkey Kong daddy because I have admired both of your artistic talents for so long. And to see both of you now have official Rare limited artwork out in the ether, out in the ecosystem, out in the universe, inspiring and influencing others. It's a joy to see. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Dustin's artwork, and well, I'll talk about your artwork, Cameron. By the way, for this episode, I wanted to use both of your artwork. I couldn't really make it work for the like YouTube and SoundCloud and promotional artwork, and I put both of your artworks in just solo to see which would work better. The Kongversation like logo and the episode title and even the Stinky Ape Summer emblem covered up too many things on Cameron's artwork, and it didn't work as well as Dustin. So I went with Dustin's for this episode. Sorry, Cameron. But
it's okay. I'll hold it against you.
I will too, even though mine's the art that got used.
I did use Cameron's for the promotional artwork, but then I felt weird about it because I was like, I can't just promote this episode just with the unfiltered artwork. That's property of Rare. I need to like obscure it a little bit. So anyway.
Dustin's. I mean, I've already seen Dustin's artwork used for rage bait YouTube thumbnails. So I think you're in the clear to do it.
We're going to talk about that, by the way. We're going to talk about that. But Dustin's artwork is what's this episode's artwork is actually using on YouTube and SoundCloud. But also, it is new dynamic background for the Xbox Series consoles. You can put this as the background on your console, and it's animated as well. And I had a Sea of Thieves one as my background. There was a pirate floating underwater with a megalodon. And as soon as this went live, but by the way, can I just say, so Cameron and Dustin, of course, were both doing this in utmost secrecy. They knew that they were working on it because, you know, they share a living situation. They did not tell me, but I figured it out pretty early on. I've kind of assumed, I used my journalistic instincts, and I kind of assumed 4 months now that you were both working on something for the 40th, just because you were always very busy. And I was like, hey, do you want to do a conversation? Oh, I really can't this week. What really tipped me off was Cameron couldn't do the Sea of Thieves stream. Cameron almost never sits those out. And I was like, this must be a real big deal commission. So
we have a lodge meeting this week, sorry.
But they did not tell me. They did not spill the beans personally. I just sniffed it out with my nose for news. So anyway, but I was very, very ecstatic to see it come to light and have my suspicions confirmed. And as soon as Dustin's was available, I switched my Xbox background to it. And it brings me a smile. Never fails to bring me a smile every time I see it. So Dustin's, they're all sitting in a theater together. All of these Rare characters. It's like the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode from Hell, where nobody can get a word in edgewise. But
it's very unentertaining.
You would not want to be in a theater with these guys. They wouldn't shut up.
No, and I imagine many of them smell too.
That's true.
We know Gruntilda.
Who do you think smells worse?
Well, according to Gruntilda,
probably.
According to Gruntilda just reeks. But I would imagine like Rash would use really upsetting cologne or like Axe body spray.
That's true.
Conker, depending on if he's showered since going to Pooh Mountain.
Yeah. Or he just pissed himself.
I think Thorn would smell pretty bad. He's just a giant troll man.
Yeah, troll man. Yeah. I would say
Frankie's a pitchfork. He probably smells like a barn.
True.
That's true. Well, that's true.
So, for those who aren't aware of the eclectic collection of characters used in these artwork, I'm going to try to name them all, okay?
Okay.
So, starting from top left and going to the right on every row. So, Dustin, chime in if I'm wrong, okay?
Okay, you know what, Hyle, I will chime in when
So,
you're wrong.
Full disclosure, though, I did write these down. And also, the only one I really couldn't get when this first premiered was the dinosaur character in the middle. I was racking my brain. I couldn't figure out who it was. And then I asked, and I was like, oh, of course, that's who it was. But my brain was trying to go to Conker's Bad Fur Day or Pterodactyl Land and Banjo-Tooie. I was like, it can't be a Star Fox Adventures character. And then I was like, oh, I'm thinking too literally dinosaur when it's a dinosaur man. But
You're thinking 2DKU.
2DKU, that's my problem. So we got Mr. Pants. I mean, oh my God. I mean, starting off with the best of the best. We've got Gruntilda Winky Bunyan, who's on her phone. Is she on her smartphone?
Yeah, she's on her phone. I thought it would be, because she's just so awful, she'd be the type of person to be loudly screaming into her phone in a theater.
We've got Frankie the Pitchfork, which also brought to mind, because you paired Frankie with Gruntilda. And I was initially wondering, wait, is that Frankie or is that Gruntilda's broomstick? And then I was like, wait, has anybody ever paired Gruntilda with Frankie the Pitchfork as her broomstick? And I started shipping them.
Yeah, this is the year's hottest couple.
So that in the static artwork, this is animated, by the way, in the dynamic backgrounds on the Xbox. We have Floyd from off of Jet Force Gemini and Roger the Cabin Boy from off of Grab by the Ghoulies is hanging on Floyd's underside, screaming.
You'll be glad to know, Hyle, Roger the Cabin Boy was one of the very first characters I wanted to put on there. Like, when I was thinking of making this, when I was planning this all out, Roger the Cabin Boy was like probably in the first 5 characters.
I adore that he's animated on the dynamic theme because it means 2 of the most prominent characters are Floyd and Roger, the Cabin Boy.
I had to explain. My wife and I, we use our Series X as our home entertainment console. We use it to stream TV and movies. I mean, it's what we always have on. I barely use it to play games. It's just a Sea of Thieves and streaming device. But for like switching this over, I had to then explain to my wife who everyone was, and she knew a lot of them. She knew Mr. Pants because I won't shut up about him. But I had to explain who Roger the Cabin Boy was, and then I had to explain why that's a dirty joke. Why that's wordplay, and yeah, it's fun. You know, it's a conversation every married couple eventually has to have. So, thank you, Dustin, for initiating that.
You know what, Hyle? It's my pleasure. That was the goal of the whole thing.
These uncomfortable discussions can be had, and we can grow as a society, which frankly we need right now. Yeah.
That's why Rare's been around for 40 years. It was all leading up to that.
King Thorn from off of Cameo Elements of Power. We have Rattle from Snake, Rattle, and Roll. We have the Pirate Lord. We have Roll from Snake, Rattle, and Roll. Behind Roll is a bundle of Feiho, the anthropomorphic cache from Conker. We have a Fudgehog. We have the Serpent from off of Cobra Triangle, which doesn't have a name. This is something I had to double and triple check. Does the Serpent from off of Cobra Triangle have a name? Just the Serpent from off of Cobra Triangle.
Just the Serpent.
Yeah.
Do you have word of God on this now, Dustin? Can you just make up a name?
How about Willard? Willard's pretty good.
I was really afraid you're going to say Bear or something.
They're going to have to fight over it.
We have
who gets the name Bear on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Pauline, I like that, Cameron. That's not confusing at all. Let's just keep it going. Steady Celery from off of Kinect Sports, otherwise known as Stalk of Celery Man. Salty the Parrot Salty the undead parrot, who is originally a mustachioed man from off of Sea of Thieves. Birdie the Scarecrow. In Birdie the Scarecrow's hat is a worm from off of Viva Pinata. We have Lissetti.
The pinatas are great because I could just sneak smaller ones in here and there all throughout.
They don't need theater chairs. They're just an infestation of pinatas. And plus, you don't have to go to the concession stand. You can just break one open to get a snack.
Yeah, see, they're so perfect.
We have Lissetti, the pirate lord's daughter from off of Sea of Thieves. We have Jetman from off of Jetpack. We have Riptor, the dinosaur man from Killer Instinct. I could not figure. I was like, it's not Fangy from Conker because that's not the right color of Fangy. Fangy is green.
That's not green, I don't think.
And then I was like, there are no little raptors in Banjo-Tooie. And I was like, but Star Fox Adventures, Dustin wouldn't be able to reference. What is? And then, and then I was pointed out, it's Killer Instinct, dipshit.
I should mention that at least in Killer Instinct 2013, Riptor is canonically female.
Oh, well, okay. See, I'm thinking in busted-ass 1995 terminology, so...
Hyle, you saw Jurassic Park.
You got me there, busted. All right, so Riptor, we have a Galagoo next to Riptor. By the way, who is Riptor eating? Because Riptor has a big bone in her mouth.
Yeah, ain't that the $1 million question? It really could be anyone, couldn't it?
It's Donkey Kong, isn't it?
I didn't want to spoil the ending of Bonanza.
Oh, God. Oh, no. They're serving him up at the farmer's market next. Anyway, a Galagoo from off of Viva Pinata, which I love Galagoo. It's such a fun word. And
Galagoo.
By the way, Galagoos are also in Sea of Thieves.
Oh, I forget where. Where are they in Sea of Thieves?
It's an emote. You can if you wear the Paradise Garden costume, your pirate can throw up a Galagoo and hit it with a stick.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Aren't those the little dolls everybody's obsessed with now?
Wow, I got that reference. I'm not so out of touch. Joanna Dark, and she's sipping on a sody.
A little sody pop.
Which I would think, being an elite spy/assassin, she would have to stay in better shape than that.
Hey, she can treat herself. It's the 40th anniversary.
Elvis does look pretty appalled.
Yeah, Elvis the extraterrestrial is right next to her.
Yeah, there's no audio in this picture, but if there were, he'd be letting out a
It's Elvis, the little gray alien, not Elvis Presley, by the way.
Yeah, we have to clarify.
Yeah, or the character from Elvis and Slick Money, my award-winning
It'd be
TV
funnier
show.
if it was easier to put Elvis, the real person, in this than Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I think Elvis Presley Enterprises is more litigious than Nintendo even. Then we have Saberman, who is asleep because he's an old man. We have King Jeff. I'm skipping over some of the characters who are bunched up around Saberman. We're going to get to them. We have King Jeff, the tribal from off of Jet Force Gemini. It's King Jeff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Because,
King Jeff was maybe my favorite one to get on here. Just because he's such an obscure... Like, you bring up Jet Force Gemini, and, people will know the three main characters, but no one cares about King Jeff.
It's funny because I'm not the Jet Force fan.
Right.
I don't really like Jet Force Gemini all that much. It's not for me. And that being said, I was around when it came out, and I was active in the Rare community when it came out. I was, on Rare's website every day. And so I still think King Jeff is a big fucking deal. In my head, King Jeff is right up there with Donkey Kong. And then I remember how busted and weird my brain is and how I've been living in a bubble for over 25 years. So
I think you saying King Jeff is right up there with Donkey Kong is the biggest laugh I've gotten from this show.
look, there's King Jeff, there's Jeff Goldblum, there's Jeff Onan. Those are my orders of Jeff, my rankings.
The Council of Jeffs.
Yeah. The multiverse of Jeffness. We have Rash, the Battletoad. And if you're going to use one Battletoad, it's got to be Rash, right?
Of course, of course.
Yeah, and Courtney in our chat points out that Rash might be the stinkiest one here because of his diaper incident.
He's not wearing the diaper. In Rash's defense...
Well, on your episode art, I can't tell. You've covered his crotch with the with the show title.
You know, I did
what
that
lies beneath?
I did that on purpose because I do like to leave it up to the imagination of our listeners.
That entire front row could not be wearing pants.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's one of those kinds of theaters, you know?
Right, the famous Quackberry diaper.
Although I suppose if it was one of those kinds of theaters, Boggy Bear would have been featured in this.
Honestly, I make that joke. Most of them aren't wearing pants. Banjo's kind of the only one.
Yeah.
He's overdressed.
Conker's letting it all hang out. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, we have a Quackberry. Is that right?
That's the one.
All right. I know my stuff. Banjo and Kazooie are there, obviously, and Banjo's got Does Banjo have a bag of honey?
It's like a bag of little honeycomb treats, his little theater candies.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it's like a Capri Sun pouch, but it was just filled with honey, or I see it now. It's sticky though. The stickiness is conveyed no matter what.
Yeah, this isn't going to be fun for him or anyone around him.
Yeah, it's like when you have popcorn from the movie theater and your hands are just like covered in oil.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I wipe my hand on your shirt?
Hi, Conker. Come here, butter. That was Bill.
There we go.
Oh, that was Bill Clinton again. I'm sorry. I can't do silly voices. This is why I'm so opposed to silly voices, because I can't join in on the fun. Because the only silly voice
I thought it was good.
I know is a problematic man now from the 90s. So anyway, we've got Conker, who's got some chocolate in his hand. And we have Rubble from off a cameo. And then one of my favorite touches, pure DKU nonsense. Several Jinjos, I think the 5 primary Jinjo colors from the original Banjo-Kazooie, defacing the haunted portrait of Sir Arthur Pendragon as seen in Sea of Thieves.
That is right, Hyle. I had a lot of fun with this one.
They have given him a silly tongue, and they put stop and swap eggs, the question mark eggs, all around. And I just love that touch, because that's the kind of DKU Worlds Colliding stuff that DK Vine really gets off on. And to see it in official Rare artwork, you really did me proud on that one.
Oh,
Dustin.
thank you, Hyle.
Yeah.
It means the world.
We have a Globo hiding under King Jeff's seats. Barely could see that the first time, and I don't think I caught it right away. It's something I caught like 5 days in. I was like, oh, there's a Globo there. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know what it's planning. It looks sinister.
Yeah, it does. We've got Royston the goldfish surviving in a soda cup. Which...
Yeah, he's just adding his own little flavor.
It's probably healthier than surviving in, like, grilled juices for 2 years, like he did from
That's
Kazooie
true.
to Tui.
Yeah, I did him a favor.
You did. At least he, if he's in Sprite or 7-Up, that's effectively water. I mean, it's as close to water as you're going to get with soda, yeah. We have a Newtgat from Viva Pinata.
Yeah, you got it. Look at you. You're nailing the Viva Pinata names.
Yeah, and we have the skull of Mr. Ribs just sitting there. And
He's
makes
been
me
swept
wonder,
up with all the garbage.
Makes me wonder if Riptor is chewing on Mr. Ribs' body.
That's possible. I do have Mr. Ribs' body sitting next to Saberman. Maybe he's missing a bone.
Oh, I didn't even see. That's a detail I didn't see, that Mr. Rib's body was actually between Elvis and Saberman.
There you go. There you see. There's little surprises everywhere.
There's always little treats. You always can come back for more. Next time I look at this, there's going to be even more characters, I bet.
There's going to be like 78 characters in there next time. It's going to be like almost double.
I'm just going to like wish really hard, and then a new character will show up.
Some of them you don't even recognize or know.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, like I said, this is an Xbox dynamic background, an animated background. There's other animated details too. Rash's sunglasses have a little glint on them. Is what else is animated on there? Is Joanna sipping? Is that animated?
Yeah, she's drinking. Jetman's blinking. You know, it's just like simple stuff.
It's still pretty impressive. I mean, like,
right.
Our holiday cards don't blink.
That's true. But you're not going to see like King Jeff's not going to get up and do a big dance number or anything.
Conker's not going to get up and start pissing on everyone.
We need to hit that Patreon goal where you can start doing lenticular holiday cards.
Oh, that would rule.
Oh, yeah, that'd be so expensive. Oh, God. I don't even know how I'm going to do that.
They'd probably have to get started on the holiday cards in, like, January.
Considering the post office is fucked and we're now isolated from the rest of the world with mail, I'm very limited in what I can send out, so we'll have to see.
Yeah.
You can also have several of these characters as your new Xbox avatars as well. They're just isolated from the background, but they're Dustin's interpretation of several Rare characters.
Yeah, I thought that was fun.
Yeah, so check those out if you've got an Xbox. Now, what really blew me away, though, was Rare is also using this artwork on the convention circuit right now, because they were there in Cologne, Germany for Gamescom. They had a big Rare 40th anniversary show floor experience. You get like temporary tattoos and what have you. And blown up there, along the wall there, was your artwork. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, that's so wild to see. Like, even just seeing it in this picture in the show notes. I wish I could have been there, but it's cool knowing it happened.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, Adam Park from Rare, he was there, and he actually gave you a shout out, Dustin.
Oh, I'll have to watch. I haven't seen that yet. That's wild.
I'll
need to watch that as soon as we're done.
He said something along the lines of this artwork was done by a Rare fan, guy by the name of Dustin.
Oh, that's me. My name's Dustin.
So,
I definitely recommend looking up photos of this thing because it is unreal how humongous it is.
Yeah. Like, knowing how Rare does hang on to the stuff that they use for show floors, like, I wonder where in Manor Park this will be displayed.
Yeah, I'm very curious. That'll be awesome to see what happens to this.
Now, Dustin, your artwork hasn't been without controversy, though.
Oh, I'm always one for stirring up controversy.
You really stirred it this time, my friend. Let's talk about the conspiracy theory. Well, your artwork, every time Rare does something that incorporates legacy pre-Sea of Thieves Rare characters or games, it is the target of rage bait, and it's also the target of theories about, are they suggesting that a new, say, Banjo-Kazooie game is forthcoming? And this goes deep. I mean, people look at this like it's an album cover from the 1960s looking for clues. And here we had, you provided little like white stitching on Banjo's backpack straps.
That's true.
And people took those to be Roman numerals, I believe, suggesting when Rare is going to announce a new Banjo-Kazooie game.
Yeah, I thought they wouldn't catch it until it got closer to it actually releases, but there it is. No, but wild to see someone say this.
Yeah.
It's all the funnier because, and I think I can say this much, when Dustin and I were kind of plotting out what we would do and, like, asking ourselves, like, what characters to incorporate, like, we've been in this fandom long enough to know the proclivities to, like, look at any one thing Rare puts out and set up, like, a murder board with pins and strings.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like, okay, well, let's like, shy away from anything that could be construed as, like, a cheeky hint as to, like, something Rare is doing, because we don't know.
Yeah.
Like I've seen comments, at least one comment like acknowledging that, like, oh, there's no Diddy Kong Racing characters in this, even though Rare owns them. And I'm like, well, yeah, we didn't include any because I didn't want to imply that something was being done with Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
exactly.
We don't know.
Like, obviously Diddy Kong Racing is kind of this murky area where, yeah, Rare could potentially do something with those characters they own, but given the only association they have is a game called Diddy Kong Racing, it does make it a little bit tricky to incorporate them in a way that doesn't feel like they're trying to trade off of Nintendo's intellectual property, even though they could release a game called Timber the Tiger tomorrow and it wouldn't be an issue. And we saw that with, like, the Fangamer merchandise they did under the Rare Racers moniker. It was very careful not to, like, broach upon anything, like, related to the Diddy Kong Racing IP, except for the characters themselves. So,
Right.
Yeah, like, I understood why neither of you put TT the stopwatch in there, even though then people could say, hey, TT's coming to Sea of Thieves, and I'd be like, yeah, let's make that happen. And then it would just turn into this massive fan campaign, and I would finally get my heart's desire. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, because I'm just so proud of you both that I don't need the glory here. I don't need my dreams to come true. It's fine. But, so Dustin, you weren't trying to hint. Rare wasn't trying to, like, use your artwork to announce and when the new Banjo-Kazooie game is getting revealed.
I don't think so. I mean, I did it just because his backpack has stitches and nuts and bolts. I kind of wanted to get some. Yeah, I like that element of that design, so figured I could kind of mix it in here.
I don't believe you.
You got me. You saw right through.
No. When I heard this, I was just like, I was cracking up because, and I think it's just one of those things where you two, I know you're real people, and, like, there's no conspiracy here. It's just nonsense. But I guess,
right.
I guess if you don't know where this artwork comes from, then it's just like, yeah, sure, clues everywhere. But take it from us, the people who broke Donkey Kong Bonanza. Banjo stitching is just random threads.
Yeah, it's just for funsies. It just looks nice.
The meaning of the stitching on Banjo's backpack is he probably needs a new backpack.
Yeah, he's had it for a while now, and it's got bird shit, like, all across the lining. Anyway.
Maybe the 40th. Maybe that'll be his big gift for the 40th.
Oh, yeah. Just a new back. Here you go. You get
this costs $12.
His backpack from the Rare Replay press kit's getting a little stanky.
I've got that hanging up on my coat rack next to me here.
That's a good thing to have.
Yeah, I don't have any coats, but I do have the
It's really more of a backpack rack.
And I also have my Sea of Thieves messenger bag and my big foam Battletoads fist from E3 2015.
Wow, it's multi-purpose.
Yeah. Anyway, Cameron's artwork. Cameron's artwork is also a huge montage of Rare characters. And this one was used for the Rare All-Stars Ruby Anniversary EP album artwork. It's a digital release. It's ostensibly 5 new tracks, or 5 old tracks, from Rare games to complement the album, the digital album they released for the 35th anniversary. So, yeah, it's a little convoluted there. But Cameron's artwork is like visible on all the platforms you can get it from, and also the banner, the full artwork is visible, I think, on the Spotify banner and maybe some other platforms as well. But this is also incredible, and I actually couldn't name everything on here, Cameron. I tried. There's a couple things that are like super obscure or old Ultimate references that went over my head a little bit. Like, I would say I knew most of it. But these are a bunch of Rare characters mucking about and getting into their own little pockets of mischief amongst each other outside of the Rare Replay Theater. The theater scene in the opening of Rare Replay, kind of what the game's themed around. And it's been 10 years since Rare Replay, which was for the 30th anniversary. And this is now the 40th anniversary. And Cameron, you can fill in the gaps where you want, but I'll just point out some of the references I caught and adored. So we have Greg the Grim Reaper harassing a bunch of rare cats, which, great touch. Greg is specifically chasing a kitty floss from off of Viva Pinata, and Professor Pester is also hanging off the Ultimate Play the Game arcade, which is next to the theater. And then also running or looking at Greg is Piddles, Grunty's cat from Nuts and Bolts. And we have Sniffles the cat. This is one of the most obscure references in this artwork. Sniffles the cat is originally Uncle Tusk's cat from the Ask Uncle Tusk column on Rareware. And then Cameron would make the cat, the pet in Sea of Thieves that accompanies the pirates, Sniffles. And both threads are intertwined here, not unlike Banjo's stitching on his backpack. And it's kind of made semi-canon that this is Sniffles, the cat, Cameron's cat, Rage and Regal's cat in Sea of Thieves, but also once belonged to Uncle Tusk, or Tusk, the barbarian Viking man from Killer Instinct. Did I get that history right, more or less?
Pretty much, yeah. And anyone can get a cat in Sea of Thieves that looks like this.
Yes, but
just the Driftwood Ragamuffin cat with an outfit on.
Yes, but this is specifically Sniffles, and you made Sniffles canon with your official artwork. Lean into it; it's fine.
Yeah, I love the legacy of Uncle Tusk, and I really wanted to get that in here somewhere, even if Tusk himself didn't appear in the image.
Yeah. No, I appreciate. I did look for Tusk in this because I was like, all right, Cameron's artwork, Tusk has got to be there. But then I saw Sniffles, and I was like, it's okay. I understand. We have Gruntilda on her broomstick, not Frankie the Pitchfork, having an air battle with Baron von Ghoul in his plane. Would love to see those two characters together. And also,
Cameron, that plane looks like it was really easy to draw.
Oh yeah, so simple. Definitely, definitely didn't take hours and hours of reference gathering.
Well, that's good to hear. Didn't give you any problems then. I was worried there because I saw that plane. I was like, that's an intricate looking plane. I hope that didn't really derail Cameron's day or week even. That would have been rough.
It turns out it was the easiest thing about the whole piece.
I am committed to a fault to trying to get minor details right, especially on like vehicles. So
Yeah, I know this. I know this about you.
On this one.
I know this from all the holiday cards you've done over the years, Cameron, how dedicated you are to your craft. We also have Lupus the dog from off of Jet Force Gemini, rocketing up, maybe to chase the cats. I don't really know, but
he's gonna shoot at them.
Jetman is serving snow cones, and there's a slalom emblem on the snow cone truck.
Say his full name, Hyle.
I refuse. I will not be harassed by the likes of Chris Alcock.
This episode is over.
Even by proxy, I will not do it. But it's worth the indignity of this character being featured on Jetman's snow cone stand or kiosk, because Jetman is serving Conker a yellow snow cone. There's your piss humor right there, folks. There
we go.
There's your lowbrow, down in the muck, urine-based guffaw for the episode. It's that Conker thinks he's got a pee-filled snow cone. Enjoy it. I appreciate it. In the Ultimate Play the Game arcade, we have Spinal playing a Killer Instinct machine, I believe. And we have the Dark...
KI2.
KI2, okay. And we have the Battletoads Dark Queen playing Battletoads Arcade and losing.
You didn't need to bring up that. You could have just let her have this.
No. She's bad at video games, everyone. Let's laugh. Let's point and laugh.
Well, the thing is, though, when you're the Dark Queen, you want the Battletoads to fail.
That's true. She's losing on purpose.
It's like me playing Mario versus Donkey Kong and just running into obstacles and then watching Mario die and then turning off the game.
A Dark Queen turning to the viewer and saying, "Ain't I a stinker?"
Joanna Dark and Elvis are there, and Elvis is driving an RC Pro-Am car. It's fun. We have Banjo and Kazooie and there, and fear not, DKU diehards, because even though no Banjo or no Diddy Kong Racing exclusive characters appear on this, Banjo is clutching some very familiar balloons in his paw. Wonderful, wonderful little detail. Lorena from off of Sea of Thieves, of the Bilge Rat faction, but also the star or co-star of the original Sea of Thieves novel, Athena's Fortune, is doing the Captain Morgan pose atop Captain's chest from Sea of Thieves. But she also has a map of Treasure Trove Cove in her hand.
Yes.
And, you better believe that's the first thing I zeroed in on. I was like, all right, what map is Lorena holding up? What island? It says that Treasure Trove Cove is Treasure Trove Cove. I know, Cameron. Which is a fun detail too, because any DKU freak who is up on their Sea of Thieves lore knows that Treasure Trove Cove is in the Sea of Thieves. It's just in the Devil's Shroud for the actual gameplay of Sea of Thieves, but you see it in the introduction of Sea of Thieves. You see it marked on the map, so it's there. It's there. We just can't get to it, unfortunately. We have Saberman having tea time with Saber Wolf, but no. Wrong character. It's Saber Wolf, the lycanthrope from Killer Instinct, not Saber Wolf, the mystical immortal jungle beast from the Saber Wolf games. And Donkey Kong Country Game Boy Advance and Grab by the Ghoulies.
What a twisted world we live in.
Underneath the tea time table, Shelly the Crab from off of Sea of Thieves. In the background, Mr. Pants is doing a survey, getting back to his roots, and asking questions of Coach from the Kinect Sports series. which is probably an even more obscure pull than Mr. Pants at this point. Coach? Really? Wow. I mean, great to see, because all the other artists for this project went with the mascot characters, and I love that Cameron went with just this human man, this middle-aged guy named
Yeah, he
Coach.
wants in on the fun too.
He wants in on the fun. You know, it's for everyone.
Yeah, you don't need a costume of a vegetable.
You don't. You really don't. Or a carton of milk, even. You don't need it.
Yeah.
Get it out of get it.
I really wanted to pull something from Connect Sports Rivals, because I feel it's kind of the Connect Sports game that's fallen to the wayside a little bit, and it doesn't have the mascot characters as prominent.
Right. And it's one of the 2 out of 3 Connect Sports games that is DKU. So Coach is a natively born DKU character. We love Coach. Now,
We're a pro Coach website.
we have the cloud ghostly form of Captain Flameheart yelling at everyone in the sky. We've got some other stuff. This is the stuff I didn't figure out. Is it like from Lunar Jetman that's on the moon?
So this was a cheeky Easter egg I put in, and I was nervous about putting it in because parts of this are kind of a spoiler for one of Rare's games from the late 90s.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Donkey Kong Bonanza. I was like,
So-
no, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
So, yeah, there are 2 vehicles on the moon. The one on the right is from Lunar Jetman. It's like the carrier you see on the cover in the game. The like rover. And to the left of it is Backlash from Blast Corps.
Okay.
So what a good way to get both of those in there.
Yeah, I figured Blast Corps. I figured there must, because I'm even less than Jet Force Gemini. My Blast Corps knowledge is so rudimentary. I cannot tell you much about Blast Corps. Also, what's the rocket ship on the far left of the image?
So that one is from Solar Jetman.
Solar
That's
Jetman. Yeah, that's it. That's
starting
it. Yeah,
craft.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I got it. I guessed it was, but I wasn't quite sure. And then we have the big like mech suit from Blast Corps looming over the theater. What's it called? J-Bomb, yes. And finally, my favorite detail. This is so many things in one that are near and dear to my heart. But this is I viewed it as a kind of cheeky nod to the Donkey Kong legacy at Rare. Obviously, you can't bring any of that up. But what we did get is a SARS gorilla from Viva Pinata, or rather Trouble in Paradise, I believe. And atop his shoulders is a capuchin monkey from Sea of Thieves. Now, this specific capuchin monkey is dressed exactly like my monkey, or my pirate's monkey sidekick in Sea of Thieves, Pepito Kong. I'm not saying it's Pepito Kong, but it's Pepito Kong. And Pepito is, instead of chucking a barrel, as some monkeys in Rare games are wont to do, or have in the past, Pepito is chunking. I'm so used to chunking now. Chunk jumping, what have you. But Pepito is chucking Royston the goldfish's bowl, and Royston's in it, don't worry, like a barrel at a fire imp from off of Grab by the Ghoulies. And those are like four things I never thought I would see together in any capacity. Obviously, like, Royston was in Grabbed by the Ghoulies, so yeah, I mean, that's equitable there, but yeah, being thrown by Pepito with the SARS gorilla from Trouble in Paradise. Oh my God, what a reference. What a series of reference. What a tangled web of nonsense that is. Now, I think that's about it. But Cameron, are there any details in here that I missed or that everybody's missed thus far? And if you prefer not to say, that's fine. If you want to keep that air of mystery, go for it. But
so, shockingly, I think most people have caught most of the references I made in this. And you specifically have caught most of them right away. I know we kind of glossed over the Twinger Snap kind of looking confused Rattle and Roll.
Yeah, I did gloss over that. I completely missed that because I saw the Diddy Kong Racing balloons and my eyes just gravitated towards them. Like,
Hyle's just so scared of snakes.
Yeah, well, the thing is, too, like, Snake, Rattle, and Roll, they're referenced by both of you, and that's, like, it's not surprising, but it's just, it's funny to see what characters did cross over between both of yours. And I actually have that on my list here, because I say, like, obviously we can't get into the nitty gritty of how this came about, how you both worked on it, but you two are obviously roommates in the larger communal Idaho crew compound, so you both knew you were working on these pieces. And as you brought up, like, you did make an effort to maybe not double up so much. The ones you did double up on are Banjo-Kazooie, Gruntilda, Conker, Saberman, Royston, Mr. Pants, Jetman, Joanna, Elvis, Rattle, and Roll. Is that correct? Am I missing any?
That sounds like all of them.
I also didn't mention Cameo is also flying in Cameron's artwork, by the way. Cameo.
Yeah, there she is.
I suppose there is one reference I've made in this that I don't think anybody has caught without, like to my knowledge, has caught on their own.
Okay.
So, and the Diddy Kong Racing balloons are not one of them. I figured, despite our, like, trying to avoid any conspiracy brain, I figured that was a fine reference to make because you can buy pins with those on Fangamer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, piloting the ship from Solar Jetman, which I think part of me wanted to include Solar Jetman because it's famously one of a friend of DK Vine, James Thomas's favorite games in Rare Replay. But piloting that ship, very, very tiny in the corner, and you can only see this in the full version of the art. I think the cropped album version on Spotify cuts them out. Piloting this ship is the robot from the Ultimate game Alien 8.
Oh, nice.
And the reason I put him in here is a deliberate reference to someone who's worked with Rare who was a significant influence on me, and I feel like in through inspiring me kind of helped this to happen eventually. So back in the day, there was a contest to, like, a mail-in contest to draw up a map. I forget which magazine off the top of my head this was for, but it was in the Ultimate era when, you know, the Spectrum was around, and a younger Will Overton sent in this unbelievable, meticulously drawn hand-drawn map for Alien 8. I really recommend you look at this thing online. It's insane.
I have to see it. I didn't know about this.
And as a reward for this, received a statue of the titular robot. And through Will's career, when he eventually wound up at Rare, still had this statue. Apparently, one of the stampers also had a copy of this statue. And I kind of get the impression this might have been significant to Will, because on the title screen of Jetpack Refueled, very prominently is this same robot, and he's also a collectible in the game. And on Rare's website in the mid-2000s, I didn't have an Xbox yet, but I had seen the title screen art for Jetpack Refueled, signed by Will Overton. And that was kind of my first revelation of, oh my god, you can do this with digital art. You can make something look like this vibrant and poppy and like
Poppy's
in a way
Nintendo.
you couldn't really achieve with traditional media. And it kind of, I feel like it set me on the path to doing more digital art. So I kind of really wanted to put a little nod into Will there.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, I really like that detail, and I would have never known that. That's like a very personal little touch. But yeah, that's the love for like all of this and the people behind these characters. It's so apparent in both of these, and as I was saying, like, you only doubled up on a handful of characters. Were there discussions? Were there arguments between the two of you? No, I want that character. Hands off that character. I'm doing that character. How, I mean, for what you can share, how did that process work between the two of you?
So, surprisingly, not really any arguing. I think we both, like, again, we both knew we were doing this. It would have been impossible to keep it a secret from each other.
Mm.
And we kind of discussed it early on, like, hey, we're both making these ensemble pieces. We are both going to have personal preferences for characters we'd like to draw. We don't want to step on each other's toes too much, but also there are certain characters that are just so big you can't possibly exclude them. Like, it would be weird if one of these didn't have Banjo and Kazooie. It just would feel wrong.
I don't think it's a coincidence that both of you framed Banjo and Kazooie as kind of the leads of all of this, like kind of front and center. Which, I mean, yeah, I think stature-wise, Banjo and Kazooie are Rare's Mario at this point. It's just the way it crumbles. Sorry, everyone, but like, sorry, everyone who hates Banjo and Kazooie like we do. We don't want a new Banjo and Kazooie game. We don't put any conspiracies.
Sorry, Night Lore fans.
Yeah, we don't put any conspiracies in official artwork. I mean, I don't, because I don't make any. But like, no, it's clear like Banjo and Kazooie are like the most prominent. That's just the way it's broken down in the last, I mean, almost 30 years since Banjo-Kazooie was released. So it makes sense that you would have them. And also, like, Conker is kind of right behind them in that lineup. And you got to have Conker. And then you've got to have Joanna Dark. And, well, Elvis is fun.
Yeah, we independently thought about which characters we would like to use and compared notes. And aside from the big names and the big names to people like us, like Mr. Pants, there was surprisingly little overlap, I think. And for some of the characters that did overlap, we decided it would be fun if, like, okay, we'll have the same character in both these pieces, but we'll in addition to drawing them differently because Dustin and I aren't the same person, we'll specifically put like a stylistic spin on them so that they look different from each other, which is what happened with Joanna Dark. I drew her in a design hewing really closely to her in-game appearance from Perfect Dark on the N64. And Dustin's is her Perfect Dark Zero look.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. That's a good way to get both designs in there.
Yeah.
And I guess this might count as an Easter egg. Dustin, your drawing of Saberman was based largely on his appearance in 2E and also how he looks in-game in the GBA game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was specifically referencing the like revised Saberwolf GBA artwork that was specifically based on how Saberman was going to look in Saberman Stampede, and I even studied a lot of Stampede footage on YouTube to pick up certain details that were hidden in that artwork. So there's a little bit of Saberman Stampede in here, and I'm proud of that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Cam, your Baron von Ghoul is perfectly visible, and on mine he's invisible.
Yeah, you may not know this, but Klungo is actually in both of our pieces, but he's taken his invisibility potion.
Yeah.
And we still don't know the bone inside Riptor's mouth and Dustin's. It could be any character you want.
Yeah.
Any character you hate.
I'd say Sea of Thieves and Viva Pinata were also lent themselves really well to this sort of like challenge Dustin and I gave ourselves not to overlap characters because there are just so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really easy to just pick a notable Sea of Thieves character because there's so many.
Right, you just have your pick.
I did appreciate the characters you picked, aside from Cameron picking two of our crew's pets, which is amazing. I appreciated that Cameron's had Lorena, which is kind of like the big like expanded universe crossover character. He made her debut in the novel, then showed up in the game, and I think it's fair to say we're chummy with Chris Alcock, the writer of the novel, and so it means a lot to have her in there. And then you've got like Captain Flameheart on Cameron's, but then the Pirate Lord, his more heroic antithesis, on Dustin's, and then you have Lassetti and Salty the Parrot. Oh, and there's Shelly the Crab on Cameron. So we have two of the more animalistic characters on each. And then, of course, the Pendragon portrait, which is just a fun, weird touch, which also reminded me, and I was like, God, I feel like so much of our DK Vine holiday cards were building up to this moment because two in particular. So, Dustin, your 2022 holiday card, which did have Pendragon on it. It was the Norman Rockwell gathering of DKU characters, and there were just some very obscure pulls on this. And of course, it being our holiday card, we could incorporate like cross-company characters. So we had
Bachelor Bear in there.
Bachelor Bear, was it Karate Kong is in there?
Yeah.
But we had some Ukulele and Impossible Layer Bees, and but it was just a lot of fun. But then Pendragon's portrait is hanging on the wall, and it's possessed by his ghost. And I was just like, oh God, it's just great to see Pendragon's portrait come back in this style. And then, Cameron, your artwork kind of brought to mind for me the 2017 holiday card you did, which was the 20th anniversary of Diddy Kong Racing, and just had a gathering of DKR characters, like every DKR character minus the two dinosaurs with Tricky and the yellow dinosaur, but every boss, every playable character, and it just Yeah, I love both of your styles, and you both have such unique like styles that are very you. And I associate both of your styles so much with the DKU because of your own individual work and your work for DK Vine, and seeing both of your styles be made official, and we now have official rare artwork for both of you. Like I said, I'm just so immensely proud of you both, and it was just in such a shitty year, it brought so much joy to see you get this recognition. So, well done, both of you.
Thanks, Hyle.
Yeah, it felt like it felt really good to do this, and I feel like you helped us get here.
No, I refuse to accept that narrative because your talent is so tremendously.
I would not have nearly the practice drawing these characters.
Okay, fair enough. I'll allow that much. But anyway, I should also point out that this isn't just this sycophantic self-congratulation circle here, because there's another fan artist, Louis Jones, who contributed a piece for the new Rare 40th Anniversary Collection 4LP vinyl set from I Am 8-Bit, which is also fantastic. And unfortunately, I don't have their ear to talk about this, but it's got so many other details, and it's got like different characters than even the ones you both use. Like Cooper is there. Klungo is actually visible in this one. Jolly Roger is there. Mumbo, the Great Mighty Pooh. And we also have...
This is the only one of these pieces that has Digger T. Rock on it.
Digger T. Rock, yeah.
Yeah, it's therefore the best one.
Yeah, the worst game in Rare Replay finally is acknowledged.
Whoa, is that your least favorite one?
Yeah, kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, look.
That's some good Hyle lore.
Look, if I'm gonna dig, it's gonna be in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Sorry, Digger T. Rock.
You understand, though, right, Digger T. Rock? You get
it. There's also the other Saber Wolf is here, Dingpot, and a lovely little detail. I mean, this is chock full of Easter eggs. It's all kind of centered around this like mashup of Spiral Mountain meets a Sea of Thieves, like bay. But then you've got a Battletoad. I don't know if it's I think it's is it Pimple?
It looks like Zitz.
Zitz. Okay. We've got Zitz being chased.
Zitz is the green one who doesn't wear glasses.
Yeah, the one without glasses. Zitz is being chased by Snacker the shark, who is being chased by a Sea of Thieves Megalodon. It's a lovely little, like that reminds me of Greg chasing all the rare cats in Cameron. It's just a fun little detail of cross game characters colliding, and
for sure.
It's a great set. I've actually got the set behind me. It's unopened because I'm probably going to frame it, but I absolutely love this.
Since you bring that up, I'll call attention to something I really like about this. Well, this artwork as a whole package, literally, I guess, because not conveyed if you just look at the front of the album. Inside, there is also some unique artwork. There is an image of a bunch of collectibles from various Rare games and like various items, weapons, outfit parts, etc. Just sort of jumbled in a pile.
A treasure trove, one might say.
Yeah, I'll just rattle a few of them off. There's a music note. There is a compass, a bucket full of eggs that I assume are blue. This is a monochrome image. Spinal's sword and shield. An extra life from Banjo-Kazooie. A blunderbuss. Some golden bananas.
Oh.
Like from the Sea of Thieves promotion,
Oh.
I assume.
Let us specify.
Yeah.
And, well, like I said, the image is monochrome. These could be purple but very shiny bananas for all I know.
That's true.
They could be tiny Kongs. We don't know. We don't know. But yeah, it's
I
a
love
great
that piece. That one's so good.
Yeah, it really is. It's a lovely ensemble, and I love how they're all around the big golden Rare logo as well. And I think there's lots of Grab by the Ghoulie skeletons lurking around as well. I see at least 2. Although maybe one of them's supposed to be a Sea of Thieves skeleton. It's hard to in this very stylized style. It's hard to really tell the difference between the two. But it's amusing to me though too the characters that are on all 3, because like Elvis is on all 3. That's something you wouldn't necessarily expect. Like Jetman is on all 3. I guess that makes sense.
You'd assume Elvis was like the biggest Rare character ever seen.
Yeah. It's giving me the impression that he is far bigger deal. Was Elvis even in Zero?
No. Because, like, a whole thing with the original Perfect Dark is that it's supposed to be, like, a lot of First Contact stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, it's wild. But, yeah, Banjo and Kazooie are on both. Of course, Conker's on both. Yeah, I mean, that's not surprising. But, yeah, just three wonderful art pieces. And it's just great to see Rare, like, really, like, lifting up fan artists or prominent fan artists in our community and giving all of you this platform. I
For sure.
absolutely love it, because really aside from Rare itself, and it's a huge testament to the people who work there, and whether they're there 30 plus years ago or they just joined, the love they have for the complete legacy of the studio has kept a lot of this stuff in play, but the fans themselves have really kept the spirit alive even through the most fallow of times. And it's just wonderful to see, like, the fans really getting to put a stamp on their 40th anniversary like this. But it's not just all soundtracks and backgrounds and convention placards. There's also a new compilation that has been announced. Sort of. It's Rare Collection 1. So Rare Replay is so 10 years ago, everyone. Rare Collection 1 is coming to Evercade's range of retro systems this November, and pre-orders actually begin on September 30th. Now, this, for those who don't know what an Evercade is, Evercade specializes in retro games. Basically, it's another way to play older games, and you can buy an Evercade in a multitude of formats. You can get just a little handheld Evercade. You can get one for your TV. I think they also make, like, home arcade cabinets, I believe. But you've got little cartridges then you can insert into your systems, and you can play these whether in the palm of your hand or in a cabinet or on your TV. And this new cartridge includes 12 titles from Ultimate Play the Game and Rare's past. Now, 11 of these have already been part of Rare Replay. And in fact, 11 of these predate Donkey Kong Country. So it's going way back, or in one case, just a couple months before Donkey Kong Country, but still. 7 of the games are from the Ultimate Play the Game era: Jetpack, Lunar Jetman, Attack, the original Saberwolf, Underworld, Night Lore, and Gunfight. 3 of the titles are from Rare's NES days: RC Pro-Am, Cobra Triangle, starring the Serpent, everyone, and the original Battletoads, which is featured as the most prominent game on the box art. They've got the Battletoads, the characters as originally depicted back in the early 90s on there, punching rats and what have you. Battletoads Arcade is also included, And most exciting for us, and the whole reason we are going to give it extensive coverage on DK Vine, Conker's Pocket Tales is part of this, but which seems so unlike the other 11. It's like Conker's Pocket Tales. What? Like, we have all these like
Wild,
super retro games, and I know Conker's Pocket Tales is a retro game, but like you have these games from an like super early era of the company before they were even Rare. You have a handful from the NES days or like thereabouts, and then you've got Conker's Pocket Tales, which is part of the Rareware era. Not Rareware the website, but Rareware, their 1994 to 2003 branding, most commonly associated when they were partnered with Nintendo. And Conker's Pocket Tales hasn't been commercially available for around 25 years. It's like not obscure because most people know of it, but most people haven't played it. It was self-published by Rare. It had a smaller print run as a result of that, and any copies that were still actually being sold were definitively pulled around the rollout for Conker's Bad Fur Day, since they didn't want to have this E-rated game on the shelves to indoctrinate the youth and then make them want to play Conker's Bad Fur Day, although I don't know how many people would have played Pocket Tales and been like, yeah, give me another one. We love Pocket
more
Tales.
of that, please.
We love Pocket Tales at DK Vine. Pocket Tales is a big deal to freaks like us, but let's face facts, all right? Pocket Tales didn't win over many converts to the cause. It was janky. It was not the most engaging experience. I love it. I adore it. I will defend it to my dying breath and then some, but it is what it is. There's a reason Bad Fur Day tends to be Conker's biggest legacy. Now, this is the Evercade description of this on their website. Before Conker got a potty mouth, he had his birthday ruined by the evil acorn. Explore vast worlds and save the day in this 8-bit handheld hit. Now for Evercade. And they're really stretching the definition of hit there. But
yeah,
also, I give that whole description a B-, because they mentioned Evil Acorn, and that boosted up a grade. But before Conker got a potty mouth seems to be a misnomer to me.
I mean, you say that, Hyle, but they might just be picking a side on what they think is in that snow cone.
It's just a common misconception about Conker. Conker himself isn't necessarily the crude one in Bad Fur Day. Conker, I mean, does have his moments, for sure.
He says a couple bad words, but I wouldn't consider that like his thing.
It's not his thing, no. He's
I
surrounded.
swear more than Conker.
Yeah, I know. We swear more on any given episode of the Kongversation than Conker does in the entirety of Bad Fur Day. Piss, shit, damn. But yeah, Conker is generally just surrounded by deviants and perverts and monstrous people. Like, Conker does commit his fair share of crimes in Bad Fur Day, but Conker's, generally speaking, the most well-meaning, aside from Rodent and maybe Frankie in some context.
Yeah.
Now, it's worth pointing out that Pocket Tales does mean the world to DK Vine, even though we are fully aware of its overall quality. I don't want to oversell it here, because if you're thinking about getting an Evercade just to play Pocket Tales, I'm not going to dissuade you from doing that, but
just know what you're getting into.
It's historically interesting. I'll say that, because it's Conker's first solo game after Diddy Kong Racing, and it has such a unique place in the overall Conker and DKU canon. And it's relative obscurity. Like I said, it had a pretty small print run compared to other DKU games of that era. It's obviously going to be something we champion because we hold up the obscure, the underloved, the weird and off beats. And Pocket Tales is very weird. In some ways, it's even more bizarre than Bad Fur Day. I love the contrast between the two. Like, I maintain that Bad Fur Day would not work for me like it does if we didn't have Pocket Tales preceding it. Now, this is just the Game Boy Color version, unfortunately. The original Game Boy version was included on the same cartridge back in 1999. They finished the Game Boy version. Conker for the N64 was still nowhere near being done, and so they decided, well, let's just do it again for the Game Boy Color and then have that out. And then Conker still wasn't ready, so they just released it as the first game with both versions bundled on the same cartridge. I maintain, as do some others, that the Game Boy version is actually superior in many ways to the Game Boy Color version. I don't know how you two fall on that argument, but I won't hold up my nose at the Game Boy Color version being officially released for the first time in a quarter century. Like, I'll take anything at this point.
Yeah, I've only ever played the Game Boy Color version, so I don't know what makes the original Game Boy version better, necessarily. I mean, I've heard people say some of the reasons, but I just haven't experienced them.
Well, Courtney,
Yeah,
Courtney's in our chat. Maybe Courtney will have an opinion on this.
A thing that does make me nervous about the original Game Boy version is that I do know it has save points.
Yeah.
And given how unforgiving Pocket Tales can be, that seems like a lot of repeating the same thing over and over.
That's true.
I do like the original Conker's Pocket Tales, the Game Boy version, because of the save points. And I'm not saying that's the reason I hold it up as superior to the GBC version, but I love a good save point. I don't know. I'm retro hipsterish like that. And it's the last DKU game to utilize save points. After that, like the Donkey Kong games started having saving from anywhere. So it's, you know,
I never know what you have until it's gone.
I think there's kind of an elegance. Well, maybe that's the wrong word, but there's a certain polishedness to the original Game Boy version that I feel like the Game Boy Color version maybe is lacking. I mean, they're pretty comparable.
In what I've seen, it seems like the Game Boy, the original Game Boy version, might be a bit more like complete in terms of like animation.
Yeah, I will agree there. Courtney says, my opinion is that I don't really like the game very much, but I'm glad I played it. That's generally speaking.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, like, it's not my favorite. I don't even consider it like a comfort experience, but my life is all the richer for having it exist in the first place.
Pocket Tales is interesting. I think is a good way you put it.
Yeah, and it makes Conker's corner of the DKU a lot more interesting as a result. We've got Ted the Boat Builder. We've got Forest Wong, Forest Guardian, Honker the Skunk, people. Don't turn up your nose at Conker the Skunk, even though he smells.
You're all sleeping on Honker the Skunk.
Conker's Wario, everyone. Come on.
This is obvious stuff.
Yeah, so I am going to have to get an Evercade for Conker's Pocket Tales, which I know this has led to some bafflement, mostly from Gibbon, but, like, the reason I need to get an Evercade is this is an official Rare release. This isn't just like, oh yeah, I'm going to download this ROM of Conker's Pocket Tales and play it on my computer. This is a Rare product. And this is an official release of Conker's Pocket Tales. And I'm a DKU fanatic, and I would want this even without that novelty factor. So, like, yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta get an Evercade for this. It's my disease. It's my curse. I made a vow once upon a time, and I have to live by it. But, the good thing is I don't play other video games. So, it's whatever. Like, an Evercade's more manageable than buying a Switch 2 was at, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to get a Switch too because of Bonanza. And this is just like, yeah, I'll get an Evercade. My only problem is I don't know what Evercade to buy. I might just get the handheld one, but then there's one where you could also hook it up to your TV, but that seems to be sold out everywhere. And I was like, that would be easier to get footage off of, get some sweet.
Yeah, it would you could do a whole Pocket Tales stream.
Yeah, I would hate that. But yeah, I mean, it would be nice to be able to just reliably get Pocket Tales footage from my TV without any cheekiness, So
right.
I don't know. I'll figure it out. But yeah, Rare Collection 1, that obviously hints that there might be more collections to come. So fingers crossed we get more hard to find or obscure classic releases in this format. I realize in Evercade, like, most people would probably just prefer it to be on NSO, but if this is how Rare can get their games out and be made available, I'm all for it. It's like, get the GBA THQ4 out there finally. I mean, those games are revered amongst the most hardcore Rare fanatics in a way that Pocket Tales maybe isn't. I mean, we love Pocket Tales, but we know what Pocket Tales is, where Grunty's Revenge, Saberwolf, It's Mr. Pants, they're held up as genuinely good games. Great games. Underlooked masterpieces in some cases. Banjo Pilot also exists.
That's true.
And, I mean, hell, I'm just spitballing here. There's that voxel build of Banjo Pilot. Is that finished? Could they just release that? I mean, the kids love voxels now. We've proven that voxels make a good video game. I don't know.
It's all about those voxels.
It's all about those voxels. That's a new t-shirt right there, Dustin.
Hey, BK, you awake?
So anyway, expect full coverage of Rare Collection 1 later this year. And maybe I'll do the Bonanza format. Maybe I'll break it up across 30 episodes. We'll see. We'll see what the public
sounds
demands.
like the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So, there's also some other merchandise that I just want to bring up quickly. The new Xbox controller from 8-Bit Do. Why are all these companies 8-Bit this and 8-Bit that? Why can't we have a 16-Bit company?
Yeah, I thought we moved past. I thought there was more than 8 these days.
Yeah. Rare fans like 64 bits. What are you doing here? Anyway, this isn't effectively a DKU controller. This is just a DKU's, because it incorporates imagery from Banjo-Kazooie, from Viva Pinata, and from Sea of Thieves. Right?
You're right. You're so right on that, Hyle.
Is there anything I'm missing that's not DKU?
I mean, that's all I see on it.
It's a lovely looking controller. It
looks
blue,
so good.
It's blue like Kazooie's eggs. It's got the Reaper's mark. It's got some Kraken tentacles. It's got a Viva Pinata. I think it's an egg. We've got some jiggies, some feathers.
A banana.
A banana. There's your Donkey Kong Land 2 reference, everyone. It's $89.99, which is pricey, but I do need a new controller because mine is suffering from drift. And I'm like, do I just buy this? But I don't want to wreck this controller because it's so nice, but...
It looks so nice. I want to get one of these.
Yeah, I also want to get the new Donkey Kong controller for the Switch, so it's like...
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's two great controllers. They both look wonderful, but they're also both expensive. So
yeah.
It's not a case where I can just get both.
I know, it's a shame, because I also have to buy an Evercade because of Conker's Pocket Tales.
Man, life is so hard.
Yeah, I told you, this year sucks.
We're being forced to buy these awesome things.
Speaking of buying awesome things, Fangamer is bringing back two of maybe their greatest wardrobe options they've ever offered. And they are also rolling out a new pin. So we're still waiting on this stuff. I've been reloading Fangamer's site like every other day and being met with disappointment. But they are bringing back the Rare Varsity Hoodie, the Wireframe Rareware t-shirt, which is a covert Donkey Kong Country shirt, mind you, and a rare ruby commemorative pin. And both take it from experience. And I think many people can attest to this. Both of these articles of clothing are instant conversation starters out in public. You wear these, somebody's going to stop you and be like, hey, yeah.
Yeah, I can 100% attest to that. I've gotten multiple comments about the varsity hoodie, which I also think is just my favorite jacket I've ever owned from their previous run of this they did. It's really nice quality, and it's that kind of jacket that's like the nice warm but not too warm.
Yeah.
Very flexible, breathable. And I'm honestly tempted to just get another one.
Honestly, yeah. it might behoove me to have a spare because, like, I'm sure mine will be worn out in a couple years because I do wear it like throughout the like late autumn through early spring, and it's great. And I just like, I don't want to make my whole personality Hyle from off of DK Vine, DKU.
Too late.
Yeah, well, okay, like obviously, as far as like DK Vine facing. Yeah, that's my whole personality. But like when I'm out and about, I don't just want to be the rare guy, the DKU guy, the Donkey Kong guy. But for like half the year, I'll wear this and I'll gladly be that because it does bring a smile to people's faces because they see that and they're like, oh my God. And they'll start talking about Donkey Kong Country or GoldenEye or whatever. And you're like, yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. And yeah, the Rareware wireframe shirt, I've also gotten people stopping me with that. Like I wore that to a theme park several years back and waiting in line, people would just be like, oh, I love your shirt. And I was like, yeah, I know. I know.
No shit.
Yeah. And that rare ruby pin, oh my God. Like I've inadvertently built a collection of rare logo pins over the years. That wasn't something I intended to do. But I got the current logo pin at E3 2015 when they rolled that out. And that was just like the prize of the show. I coveted it like Gollum does the One Ring. And then Fangamer started rolling out the Rareware pins, both the like Rareware logo and then the wireframe version. And then I was just like, yeah, I got to get those. And then before I knew it, I had a whole like rare pin collection from Fangamer. Like they released like the Banjo-Kazooie, Conker, Diddy Kong Racing, i.e. Rare Racers, even ukulele. Like, so I have like the whole shebang, not shabunga, unfortunately. And I have to get this. So this is my first buy. This is my instant buy. But then I might also get another one of those hoodies as well.
I want to get that shirt. I need some new shirts, and that's a good shirt to have.
It is. I agree. I've had this, like, it's become a nightshirt for me because I wore it out so much that it's starting to get a little faded and ratty looking. So usually what I'll do is it'll be one of the shirts I put on after I record the Kongversation because I have to do it in a hot room and I'm sweating. And so I'll usually like just put on something to go to sleep in. And it's usually that or any other busted old t-shirt from the years. All of them DKU related, mind you, but yeah. Anyway, finally, Rare got a little bit of an honor at the building where it all started. This is the building that the Stampers founded Ultimate Play the Game in the town of, let's see if I can pronounce this right, Ashby de la Zouche. I think it's Zouche. But this is, where Ultimate Play the Game was run out of back in the day, although it was officially incorporated as Ashby Computers and Graphics Limited. But they have a plaque now on the building as a historical landmark, which
wow.
It's wild to see that like them get that recognition and like really like held up as an important part of UK history and culture. Like, I know it's important for us, but to see it get that recognition outside of our bizarro little cult it's nice. It's validating for Rare and validating for us that we haven't just wasted our lives in this nonsense stewing in the malarkey soup that all of this is.
See that, everyone? Griffin. We got a plaque. It's all okay now.
Yeah, maybe one day DK Vine will get a plaque. Like this is where the Idaho crew lived.
200 years ago.
Gonna bring down the property values.
It's a condemned building. There's a Spirit Halloween at that point. Yeah. All right. Well, we have a call to play. So let's go ahead and do that. And then I want to wrap it up with some final general thoughts about what Rare means to us in 300 words or less. So let's go ahead and play our call.
Hello, Cameron. Hello, Dustin. Hello, Hyle. This is Carl Max calling in for the Rare's 40th anniversary video. First of all, congratulations, Cameron and Dustin, for being able to work on some official material for that. I entered the gaming scene long after Nintendo and Rare had formally parted ways, and definitely been much more in the Nintendo sphere than I ever was in the Microsoft sphere. But I'll give Rare one thing. They're much more tapped into their fan base and are much more willing to openly collaborate with them than Nintendo ever has and probably ever will be. It's probably different company culture, obviously, but I think that's definitely a positive thing for Rare. I don't want to keep you too long, so I'm going to just ask one question, which is, in your educated opinion, what do you think stops Rare IP from usually being handed to other studios, either under the Microsoft umbrella or just other studios who are interested in working on the IP? I've heard a lot of conflicting things over the years. I've heard that Rare gets a right of first refusal, so if they don't want to do it, they can stop any other studio from getting it. Or maybe Microsoft is just usually disinterested. There's been a couple of exceptions with Perfect Dark. If Perfect Dark wasn't canceled, it might have been the biggest one, but obviously Perfect Dark has kind of a different feel. You can make that more of you can leave that away from Rare's usual sort of cartoon aesthetic. So any speculation you have on that, I would love to hear it, and congratulations, Rare, on 40 years. Thank you for taking the call.
Well, thank you so much for the call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to have to be an educated guess, as you said, because I don't have any inside skinny on this, but I think it's basically right. Rare does, thankfully, I think have asserted creative control over their IPs, and I say thankfully because it could get out of hand if they did lose control. I know how frustrating it's been waiting for anything new on any of these fronts for so long. But I think part of that too was, Rare struggled, or more or less struggled for a while they were trying to gear their games towards a new market, really. The Xbox audience back in 2003 was pretty different from the Nintendo audience, and they had already had all these games in the works for the GameCube that they then shifted gears and grabbed by the ghoulies. We saw what happened with that. I mean, the big mystery, the big what if of that era is how well would ghoulies have done on the GameCube versus the original Xbox. But they then went through a litany of their IPs. Conker, you had Perfect Dark, and then you had, Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts, and all really struggled to find an audience or be met with rapturous acclaim. And, I mean, the Kinect sports games, for as much as the Rare fandom generally dismisses them or even looks down on them, they actually did really well in certain parts of the world and were profitable. I mean, they really did give a shot in the arm to the studio. And then, fully going into the Craig Duncan era, I think part of the mission statement was we have to change the perception of Rare. Rare's mired in the past. Everybody thinks of Rare as what they did with Nintendo back in the 90s, and everything's been very dismissive of what Rare is capable of today. And that's what really brought us into the Renaissance era, which, yes, there was this re-acknowledgement and re-celebration of their heritage with Rare Replay, but then it was also Sea of Thieves, and it was about proving that they didn't have to be beholden to the past and just be the Banjo-Kazooie factory or the Conker factory or the Perfect Dark factory. And, I mean, as a fan of all of that, that sucks. But as a fan of Rare, I get it. I got it at the time. And, I mean, thankfully, Sea of Thieves, I know it wasn't for everybody. But Sea of Thieves was such a, like, winning concept that blended enough of the Rare ethos and imagery and, like, ideas and philosophies with a game that was more geared towards a contemporary audience, or I should say an audience outside of the Nintendo bubble, that it really just led to great fortune for the studio while allowing them to retain, I think, their identity in a way that maybe the Kinect Sports games didn't. And I know, like, Craig Duncan, I think there's a misconception that Craig Duncan, like, hates all the old stuff, and I think it was more just, we have to take a break from the old stuff. We have to prove what we're capable of. It's not necessarily mothballing that stuff forever. It's just we have to prove that we're not just about what happened 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I think, you know, they also know what's at stake with the Banjo-Kazooie game. Like,
Right.
you don't get many do-overs, you know, and if a new Banjo-Kazooie game, if they gave the green light to a Banjo-Kazooie game from another studio and it sucked, or if it just failed to meet expectations, and there's a lot of expectations riding on it, then that might torpedo the future viability of the Banjo-Kazooie brand. So it has to be done right, and it has to be done, like, I mean, it has to surprise as well as meeting fan expectations, and that's a very hard thing to do.
It's a tough tightrope to walk.
Very, very tough tightrope. Like you're in Witchy World tightrope, you know?
Now I get it.
You get it?
You put
get
it in
that reference?
terms I could understand.
So I think there's just a multitude of factors in play. It's the struggles of the aughts and the realities of the 2010s. I think they're in a different place now. I think things have changed. I'm optimistic that we could be getting more legacy stuff. But
All we
it's
can
not to
really do
say
is
it-
hope for the best.
And it's not to say it couldn't happen, because it has.
Yeah.
We got Killer Instinct 2013 out of it. We got Battletoads.
I would say Killer Instinct 2013 is more revered than Battletoads, but I like Battletoads 2020. I'm not a Battletoads guy, so when I say I like Battletoads 2020, that's with the caveat that I'm not a huge hardcore Battletoads fanatic who was expecting X, Y, and Z. Like, it pleased me for, you know, for what it was.
I
Yeah.
look at KI 2013, and like that is solidly my personal favorite Killer Instinct game.
Mhm.
It is also was extremely successful. It like got its own huge corner of the fighting game community.
Yeah.
It was a very popular, well-received game.
Yeah. So yeah, like I think it is just like guarding the value of their IPs, and like I don't want them to be so precious like dragons protecting their gold pile, but it is important to get it right. And I think a new Banjo-Kazooie game is long overdue. I honestly think they should have struck, you know, around the time or shortly thereafter of them appearing in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but video games take a long time nowadays. We saw that with Bonanza. The pandemic threw a wrench in everything. And,
Right.
you know, I think it's inevitable that it's going to happen eventually. And I know, like, it's been so long. It's been what, 2008 to now? That's so long. But it's not like we haven't been without some Banjo and Kazooie recognition. It's not like it's just this completely mothballed IP. I'm talking just beyond the merchandise. I'm talking about, yes, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yes, the acknowledgments and references in Sea of Thieves and other things. I mean, I'm not going to bring up IDAR because nobody's going to be placated with IDAR but me and Jeff. But, it's IDARB. We love IDARB. But, yeah, it's like I would feel worse being a fan of so many 90s properties that aren't Banjo-Kazooie, that don't have a Snowball's Chance in Hailfire Peaks reference to get a revival.
Yeah, how do you think those Eek the Cat fans feel?
Yeah. I was going to say Bubsy, but...
So much for that.
So much for that. Anyway, I've gone through it. You've seen me process some of these emotions on the Kongversation. Like, why not us? Like, why can't the DKU get recognition? And maybe I'm just feeling so much more optimistic in light of Bonanza and everything Bonanza gets into. Bonanza is the kind of loving fan servicey game that also reinvents the wheel and does its own thing and really propels the franchise and the genre forward, both simultaneously. I didn't think it was possible. And they did it. And so now I think all things are possible. So, maybe I'm just high on my own supply right now, but I do think Banjo-Kazooie have a future. Maybe Conker eventually. I don't know. Really,
who's to say?
We just need to get Conker as part of the Banjo-Kazooie. So just merge them, whatever. It's at this point, consolidate. Make it easier, more efficient that way. But yeah, thank you so much for the call. And, to sum up what Rare means to us on their 40th anniversary, I don't think the three of us need to really justify it because here we are, season 13 of the Kongversation, year 26 of DK Vine, 40 years of Rare. I mean, I would have stopped playing video games, probably in adulthood. This is not a hobby or interest I would have kept up once I left college if it weren't for Rare and Rare's continued existence. I mean, if Rare hadn't indoctrinated me back in 1994 with Donkey Kong Country, and I've said the story before, I said it back Donkey Kong Country's 30th anniversary last year. Donkey Kong Country was the first time a video game came along and ticked off all the boxes in my brain of what I wanted a video game to be. And then I discovered Rare and Rare's sensibilities and sense of humor and ways of crafting a video game experience. And it was just magical to me. And I became a fan of them, of the studio, the people who work there. And I still am a fan of the studio today and the people who work there today. And before Bonanza came along, because I haven't reassessed my list, I would say 7 out of my top 10 games of all time were made by Rare. And it's something I've double checked. It's something like 15 out of my top 25. So the majority of my favorite games of all time are Rare games. And I'm not really a gamer. I had to ask you all what Silk Song was the other day. I didn't. I was like, is it a video game? Or is it
it's like a lotion or something?
Is it a bath tissue? Is it for my butt? And I didn't know. And I was like, I think it's a video game. But explain
Sounds
it
like
to
one
me.
of those dad rock references that you and Jeff would make.
Yeah. Is it a 70s prog rock band from Canada? Is that what it is? And then you had to explain what Hollow Knight was, and I was surprised to learn that Hollow Knight wasn't a spin-off of Shovel Knight. I was like, yeah, that was a character in Shovel Knight, right? They spun off Hollow Knight. It's like, no. It's like, what? What? So yeah, if it wasn't for Rare, I don't think I would be here today talking about video games, be it Silk Song or The Sims or other video games. Madden? Is Madden still around? I wouldn't do it because I would have no interest in it. I would have gravitated towards English literature, or I would learn how to speak Mandarin. I don't know. So
Yeah, Hyle wouldn't even be thinking about Tonic Trouble if it wasn't for Rare.
So thank you, Rare, for ruining my life, is what I'm saying. Is there anything you two would like to say before we go?
You can go first, Cam.
I guess what I'd say is Rare is pretty solidly the biggest creative influence on my entire life. And I mean, proof is in the pudding. I keep coming back. Any like creative effort I expend is hard to not trace to something Rare did in some way. And I think it really is Rare's games that kind of were among the first to teach me that a video game can be more. It can be as resonant as any other type of media. It can be more than solving puzzles or moving a character on the screen. It can be a world you care about, a world that makes you laugh, with characters you love and characters you want to see time and time again. And I am very happy after all this time that they're still standing as an institution.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the exact same as Cam here. Probably the biggest creative influence in my life. I don't want to say like I would not be here drawing if it wasn't for Rare. I had other influences growing up that made me want to be an artist, but like to this day, when I think of like things I create, things I want to make, it's just Rare up front and center. I think like I want to make something that is as cool as Banjo-Kazooie. I want to make something that made me feel how I felt playing these Rare games for the first time. And like I didn't have a Super Nintendo growing up. I didn't even get to play Donkey Kong Country for a while, but I would still see like friends would play them. My cousin had Donkey Kong Country. Even without that experience, they still lured me in. I was still like, that looks so cool. And eventually got a Nintendo 64, eventually got to play the older Rare games, new Rare games. I'll always be down to see what Rare's doing. To this day, they are the studio I most love, the studio I'm most interested in what they're going to be putting out. Just a huge influence on my life.
And, I think it's fair to say they're a huge influence on a lot of people. I mean, even Nintendo, I look at Super Mario Odyssey, Donkey Kong Bonanza. There's Rare influence in those games from their games that were influenced from Nintendo. It's just this constant feedback loop. I mean, what they have provided the industry, their magic is kind of being spread around now. The people who grew up with their games are making games, and you're getting that like little cheekiness and that humor and that world building, that attention to detail, that thought process. It's abundant now in many, many developers' products. And it's just great to see, especially after all of the nonsense of the aughts, the early to mid to late aughts, and the discourse around, their games. And it's just like, Donkey Kong Country is always overrated. Banjo-Kazooie is just a Super Mario 64 clone. Like, that's all by the wayside now. You don't run into any of that anymore. If you do, like, they've been living under a rock for the last 15 years or so. Of course, the most influential Rare game will be available this November Conker's Pocket Tales. I recommend everybody buy an Evercade to check it out. You will be disappointed.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.